For this video, I'm going to go ahead and explain the blind pick rule. Just in time for EVO 2018, I decided to make a couple quick videos to help you guys out. So if you go to the official website, go ahead and check under Match Play, Choosing Characters to find the rules in question. Basically, you can tell the TO which character you wish to play. That way your opponent can't counterpick you and possibly ruin your tournament experience. Although if you know what character your opponent's going to pick, it's really a one-way street, totally in your advantage. So let me give you an example from my own experience. So most tournament newbies are one of two people. They're either people who see the big picture or they're people who see the small picture. So here's a picture of a standard looking pool. Let's go ahead and imagine you're one of the two people here sitting down. And if you're not a top player, statistically at least one person in your pool will be a foreign player from a different country. And unlike most players, they're often going to be transfixed right on your screen. Here we have the Sharks. Often tournament experienced players, they'll be watching your every move, trying to find out patterns, and trying to figure out how to beat you before they even play you. And finally we have the Fish. Newcomers, beginner players, people who often are entered in other tournaments at EVO, who just enter in Tekken just for the fun of it, just to say they played. For the inexperienced players, you'll often run into people who will sit at the machine, won't pick a character until you commit the one. Now it's important to realize that there's nothing wrong with the strategy, just often that most people don't realize their opponent is doing this until it's too late. So rather than playing chicken at the character select screen, it's often better just to go into a blind pick just to have that edge up on your opponent. But that's often only half the story. Blind picking allows you to play mind games before you even go against your opponent, which is especially strong against the Sharks and the foreign players. Here's my example. So here's my bracket from last year as an example. Luckily I'm seated opposite of you, so I have a great chance of facing him in the final round, but I won't have to worry about facing him earlier. And since my bracket is lacking any other real killers, I can use this information to start formulating a strategy. Now Yu really doesn't need much introduction, but he's part of Team Yamasa. Most importantly though, he's a training partner with Nobi, who's arguably one of the best Dragunov players in the world. Now my Dragunov is decent, but I think it's fair to say that picking Dragunov against Yu wouldn't be a great choice. Also knowing that Yu's a long-time player, I think I'd have a better chance picking one of the newer cast against him. So that leaves the question, who should I pick? So at that time there were 4 brand new characters, 1 remade character, and a character from a game that I haven't quite played, nor have I played enough experience with Fatal Retribution to make any real dent with him. So I haven't played Chloe seriously since 7.0, so there's really no point in picking her. Now Josie's a remade character who excels with fundamentals and making hard reads, both of which probably not the best idea to go against you with. Similar to Chloe, I haven't played Katarina much since 7.0, and although my cat was decent in 7.0, a lot of her has changed since then. And that leaves me with Claudio and Shaheen. Unfortunately, like Cat, Shaheen received a bunch of nerfs going from 7.0 to FR, so picking him against you once again is also probably not that great of an idea, but at least we'll have another character I can show that can potentially confuse some of the other players. So for my own early scouting, I see that the second person I'm going to play in my bracket is a Brian player. Luckily for me, I have a lot of experience with Dragunov versus Brian, and the Dragunov matchup is slightly in his favor, so there's a pretty good chance I can beat him with just Dragunov alone. And that settles it. I'll be picking Shaheen in my second round, Dragunov my third, leaving Claudio in my fourth. And this is where the power of blind pick really shines. If your opponent has no clue what character you're going to play, they'll more often than not switch to their own default character. So the Brian player probably thought I was going to pick Shaheen, in which case Dragunov down 2'd his way to victory. And Yu had a false dilemma. He thought one of two things. I was either going to be picking Shaheen or Dragunov, in which case would give him false confidence since, as we talked about earlier, Nobi is his training partner, and likely I would have no chance of beating him. Of course, in the end, the better player won, but this little bit of psychological warfare can not only help you against more experienced players, but also can help you against inexperienced ones who might not know about the rules.